Sega is my fourth favorite video game company behind Nintendo, Square Enix, and Bandai Namco. While Sonic the Hedgehog is arguably their most popular franchise, I feel like Sega should just give them a break for a few years. In my honest opinion, Sega should just give Sonic a rest for a couple of years and focus on their other IPs instead. Starting with the debut title of my new series, Jman Reviews, Jet Set Radio. Developed by a now defunct in-house developer Smilebit, Jet Set Radio is basically what happens if you get Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but instead of focusing on doing cool tricks, you graffiti all over the place. So does it hold up? Let's find out. So the game takes place in a fictionalized version of Tokyo called Tokyo-to. In this town, teens on magnet skates called roadies by the locals of Tokyo-to face each other in a bunch of spray paint turf wars by graffitiing all over the place. We play as a gang that has been formed called the Gigis, who reside in Shibuya-cho. There are three other gangs you have to worry about. First up are the Noise Tanks, a bunch of techies who live in Benten-cho, which is basically Tokyo-to's version of Kabukicho, or Kamurocho if you're a Yakuza fan, who sell pirated software to buy spray paint. Up next is Poison Jam, who reside in Benten-cho, a bunch of monster movie-obsessed weirdos who like to wear these cheesy outfits all the time. And finally we have the Love Shockers, a couple of chicks who are severely heartbroken, like I am, and are out for revenge. Obviously, the government of Tokyo-to is not too happy with a bunch of teenagers vandalizing everything. The Rokaku Group, a massive financial conglomerate, run by a guy named Goji Rokaku, to create the 21st Century Project in an attempt to stop the Rudies from spray painting everything. The plot is nothing to write home about, to say the least. What really sells it for me is DJ Professor K, the DJ at the titular Jet Set Radio, a pirate radio station that Rudies of Tokyo-to listen to. This man is absolutely insane, just really entertaining to watch. Like, just listen to this guy.
Let's go to the mailbag. A letter from Mr. Osaki asks, how do I get rid of these nasty roaches? Easy, just burn your house down!
Graphically, this game looks amazing, even today. Jet Set Radio was one of the first games to utilize cell shading, a technique used to give games a cartoonish feel to them. Sly Cooper is the most famous game to use this art style, but right now we're talking Jet Set Radio at the moment. Now, it's almost impossible to talk about Jet Set Radio without talking about arguably the best part of the game, the soundtrack. The soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks in any game. Well, you know, aside from one, there's a few. Hideki Naganuma is one of the best composers out there, though he didn't compose the music himself, and honestly, the songs he composed aren't that great. I mean, they're good, but not amazing. Also, apparently the Dreamcast version had Dragula by Rob Zombie for some reason, but for obvious legal issues, this had to be cut from the HD re-release. But to sum it up, yeah, this soundtrack's god tier. Now, if only Naganuma would compose Big Chungus. Jet Set Radio, as mentioned earlier, plays somewhat similar to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, but instead of trying to pull off a 50,000 trick combo, you go around spray painting the map within a time limit. There are three types of stats: Power, which determines the amount of HP your character has, Technique, which determines the amount of points you earn while doing tricks, and Graffiti, which determines the amount of points you earn while doing graffiti, as well as the amount of spray cans you can carry. When you do get your graffiti on, you have to copy the motions of the joystick, or whatever for the keyboard. There are three kinds of graffiti options: Small, which you only need to spray for 1 can, Medium, which you need 3 cans for, and the Extra Large, which requires 7. If you mess up the motion, you lose a spray can. Also, you can do tricks automatically, but they aren't really necessary, but they look cool. Obviously, spray painting public property is not a very legal thing to do. The game even has a disclaimer in the opening that discourages graffiti as vandalism. So, every now and then, the popo show up and, well, let's just say that Tokyo-to is a little overreactive when it comes to handling juvenile skaters. These guys will do anything, and I mean anything, to take it down. At first it's just normal, just a couple of cops, but then it gets a little out of control with SWAT teams, attack helicopters, and even frickin' tanks! The police chief, Captain Ishiba, not just what you put him behind bars either. No, this man's out for blood!
So Nishima, I'm sending in the parachute squad. Once they
And when they do track you down, run like hell. And you go to a location that they're too lazy to do themselves. Come on, it's just a jump. Do you really have to do that? You can unlock more graffiti by collecting graffiti souls throughout Tokyo Town. You can also make your own graffiti in the garage, but that requires you to joystick and keyboard, so you're rather limited there. The PC version has a mod that lets you put your own custom graffiti in the game. So you do what I have done, put Among Us, Teletubbies, Big Chungus, Waluigi, and Nintendo smoking not weed throughout Tokyo Town. I'm sorry, Mom. Every now and then, other Rudies will show up to challenge the GGs. You either have to copy their moves, or you have to race them. The copying of tricks isn't that hard, but the racing can get really, really annoying. You have to race the Rudy to the other part of the map. You have to race the Rudy to the other part of the map before they do it, and, well, it can be rather frustrating. This game definitely wasn't meant for racing. And yeah, this is a very, very frustrating thing to do, especially the second chapter. Also, there is online functionality, but it's nothing special, just leaderboards. Overall, this game is actually pretty fun for the most part. Spray painting is a really fun mechanic, and the soundtrack and visuals are amazing. It's no wonder this game became the cult classic it is now. Sadly, this game has aged a little though. The controls get really, really used to, especially if you pick a rather heavy character. And the time limit can be rather frustrating, and don't get me started on Chapter 2. Ugh. But once you look past those, you got a very, very stylish looking game. Overall, Jet Set Radio gets the B+ ranking from Jman. There is a sequel, but it was only released on the OG Xbox, and the third game was pitched for the Wii, but was sadly turned down. I have very mixed opinions about the Wii version. On one hand, it sucks we didn't get another Jet Set Radio. On the other, the fact it was on Wii and the Wii's forced motion controls, probably for the best. Hey guys, once again, thank you for watching the first episode of Jman Reviews. I've been wanting to review video games for about a couple of years now, and finally retiring from Gmod videos gave me the opportunity to review this game. Leave a comment to see which games you want me to review next. Make sure to like, subscribe, all of that sexy stuff. Bye, have a beautiful time!